One last thing to check before I take this on its inaugural drive is the cooling system. I wish I checked it closer before. It's kind of a mess. You can see inside there. It's pretty bad. It's also, the thermostat is pretty bad. The thermostat's actually working, but it was so gummed up, I don't know that any water was getting past it, so I need to address that before I drive it. Boy, look at inside that hose, that's not good either. It started to get hot just sitting here, and I can see why. There's so much gunk that was blocking the thermostat that although the thermostat was open, it wasn't letting enough water by. So I'm gonna have to get a thermostat, and I'm gonna have to start cleaning some stuff up here before I take it out. I've got the thermostat out now, cleaned up the outlet. It's looking pretty good. So I've got the new thermostat. I'm gonna put a very, just a microscopic type of bead around here of silicone, then put the gasket on top of it, and then put this on top of that with the thermostat in it. More in a bit. So the gasket's on with just a very, very super thin silicone layer below it, just to fill in the really, really tiny gaps. I don't like making the gasket out of the silicone, just use it as another barrier. So there's the thin layer of silicone. Now it's going in. All right, all back together. Let's fire it up. It's in neutral. Now we gotta hook the battery up. If I didn't forget to hook the battery up, it would not be a normal day for me. Okay, now it's ready to fire. That belt is still squeaking even though I tightened it. I just want to get it warm. Make sure this isn't leaking. Make sure the thermostat works. I changed the oil while I was under it. It wasn't so bad, but it's a lot better now. I use the oil you get at Costco, the 1540. It works pretty well. Now this hose setup is just stupid. I don't know if maybe this AC pump was added later. It certainly looks it. It doesn't look factory to me. This hose is just stupid the way it runs. My lower radiator hose is dripping. There's a spot where it touches the block, and it looks like it's worn a hole in it. I don't know how long it's been like that. I'll have to see it down here. Hasn't started getting warm yet. Temp gauge does work. Not interesting. Looks like the EGR valve might be short. Disconnected the EGR valve for a second. I don't think it's way up, even with the thing plugged. This EGR valve is junk. It would explain why the idle roughens up after about 30 seconds of running. Alright, it's starting to get warm. See the temp gauge rising. Let's see if the thermostat's working. It's real easy to tell if the thermostat's working. It's the hose getting warm. Any other radiator, not near the block, and it is. The radiator itself is real hot right here. So the thermostat's working, which it should. Hey everybody. Well, I did something really stupid. They say everybody makes mistakes, and this is a big one. I had the truck running, getting ready to take it out on its first drive when I fixed the brakes up, and I didn't realize that the water was low. I'm pretty sure I checked it when I first got the truck, but for whatever reason there was very little water in it, and I think that I cracked the head. Some water's pouring out of it. And as I'll show you, this won't come on. Well, you can't really tell, but you can see from the side of the tank, that's not a good color. It wasn't like that before. I'm going to check if there's any water in the oil. I haven't checked that yet. There's no water in the oil. None. That might be a good thing, it might not, but it's not good in any case that this has happened. It was very cold overnight, not quite freezing, but cold. And I noticed that water started leaking again, and it's actually still leaking down there. And I think it's leaking out of the block. I'm hoping I'm wrong. The engine did get hot, but it wasn't running that long. But I'm told that these Fords are susceptible to head gasket failures. Maybe it's a head gasket, maybe it's not. I've got to take the water pump off and this fan shroud off to see exactly what's happening here, because there's just too much in the way. The water appears to be coming out behind the water pump pulley. So I'm cautiously optimistic that it's a bad water pump, because it is bad. I mean, you can see from the play in it. It's really, really bad, but I don't know. I'm skeptical, but we'll see. So I'm going to take it apart and I'll get back to you. There may be some hope here. There's a weep hole in every water pump so that when the bearing starts to go bad, it starts to leak. Using this mirror, now you're not going to be able to see this, I doubt, but the weep hole is there, and it's leaking. So it could be, and you can see the leak there, it could be that it's just the water pump. Like I say, the engine got hot, but I didn't think it got hot enough to blow a head gasket. So maybe it's just the water pump. I'm certainly going to try that. I've never seen a water pump leak like this. I mean, it's sitting here and it's just pouring out. And earlier when I was spinning this, it seemed to pour out more. So I'm gonna pull this water pump and see what's going on. Got the water pump off. Looks like 4 bolts hold this thing in. Simple to get off. The bolts weren't tight. Maybe they had never sees on them. And there's remnants of gasket sealer here. So this is not the original pump, which is weird for a 78,000 mile truck, but it is what it is. That's the weep hole I'm talking about. When a water pump gets worn, this shaft gets play in it, and water leaks through the seal inside and comes out this hole. This was pouring out water. What I thought might have been a cracked head could very well have been the water pump. And if so, I'm going to be a very happy man. I'm going to gamble and buy a new water pump and see what happens. I am certainly hopeful that that's what this is. More later. So I'm prepping the water pump bolts to go back in. Oftentimes there's a lot of scale on the threads, so I like to clean them up. This is one I've already cleaned. The way to do that is just put a little bit of oil on the threads and spin this down. You'll probably run into some resistance when you get near the bottom, and you just use a socket gently to clean out the threads that way. I also like to use this barbecue tool cleaner. Just rub it on the threads to clean them up. I don't want it to bind going in. I want it to have a nice clean seal, so that's why I do that. Now that the threads are clean, I need to put this stuff on it. This is stuff for sealing threads on bolts. And the reason I need to do that is some of these bolts screw into the water jacket. And as such, water can leak by the bolt threads and out, and you never know why it's leaking, and that's why. So this comes with a brush. You just brush a little bit on to the threads right before you put the water pump in. So I'll be doing that shortly. Water pump is in. New hose on the bottom. One of the heater hoses is changed. We'll be changing the other one as well, but it's in. Now I'm going to try to fill it up and see if anything leaks. All right, day's come. I've been through a lot of trials and tribulations with this truck, the most recent being that I thought I overheated it and blew the head gasket or cracked the head. None of that was true. It was a really shot water pump that was leaking. So that's been changed. The brakes, of course, are all done. A bunch of other little stuff I can't think of at the moment. And it's time to take it for its first drive. So this thing has not done more than move about 5 feet since I got it. And it's going on now, I don't know, 2 months since I got this thing. Just have had very little time to work on it. But today, we're going to take it out on the street for the first time in 21 years. First thing I'm going to do is start it up, back it up a bit, make sure the brakes work, and then I'm going to take it out and I'll take you along for the ride. All right, so to start this thing, as you've seen in other videos, it's got a switch under the dash that's a full-on switch. You actually have to shut it off to shut the starter off. So let's see how this goes. Keys on, start. Okay, that was easy. Now I'm going to try to back it up and test out the brakes. It's a 3 on the tree, so towards you and up. Okay, down towards me is first. This baby's gonna see the road. First thing it's gonna do is take a left up this hill. That way if it dies, we can roll back. I haven't driven a 3 on the tree in a while. Takes a little getting used to. This first, second. Brakes are good. Yeah, baby. Woo! Man, this is cool. I keep putting it in third instead of first. Listen to that transmission. You know, first gear is a lot straighter cut than the other gears are. So it sounds like a Muncie Rock Crusher a little bit. Oh man, this is cool. Back down to first. What I thought was a belt squeak, you know, I got the AC belt off because I was tired of listening to it. I think it might be the alternator bearing. It is charging, but it's not the AC belt anymore because it's not even connected. I can feel these tires, they're very old, and you can feel that they're very old. But this is really cool. I wish you could get the feel of it. You know, you get the gear wind from first gear and the 6-cylinder 3 on the tree. It feels like you're driving a truck from the 50s. Kind of sounds it too, with the rubber floor mat and all. I mean, it's primitive. Even for a 1980, it's primitive. Third again. Take a left here, up another incline. Awesome. I'm going to try to get it up into third So I haven't had a chance to yet. Second. Third. No problem at all. No problem at all. Got a bit of a shake. Might be one of the rear tires going bad. Temperature just getting above cold, which it should. The heater lever is stuck, so I can't get it to blow cold, hot yet, but I'm sure it will. It's not leaking. And now I'm going to take it home, which is down an incline. Boy, this shift's great. Down an incline and up my steep driveway. If you all watch my videos of the red 72 Ford that I rescued, it didn't do too well going up that steep driveway. Let's see if this baby does better. Something tells me it's going to do better. This thing has wanted to run for a long time. There were times where I thought about giving up. You know, this thing's not worth much money, and it needed a lot of work, but I'm so happy that I saw it through. Okay, here's the test. Beautiful. Well, it made it just in time before it ran out of gas. All right, that's it for this video. Thanks on coming along. This is a 2 thumbs up success here. This thing did great.